Okay, we had the new parts come through from the factory. We'll get them on the car ahead of FP1.
Hey, what's up guys, aarava here and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 career mode, episode number 53 today for the German Grand Prix in Season 3. If you guys did miss the previous episode then at the British Grand Prix, then be sure to check the one out before you see this one. But headed into Hockenheim then with a minor engine upgrade to the car, so hopefully that'll help us out. You can see on the zoomed in performance shot there, Force India leap ahead of Ferrari there with a minor upgrade of their own, or even a major, I think that looks like. And then Haas leap ahead of Red Bull once again. You can see Haas and Red Bull really intertwined this season so far. They've been very, very closely matched, but they're by just a pixel ahead on the kind of overall performance chart there. Renault and Mercedes ultimate upgrades. Looks like Mercedes might have got an ultimate upgrade here for this weekend, because that's quite a leap there to try and catch back up to maybe Renault later onto the season. And then Toro Rosso streak ahead a little bit of Williams, who are now getting ahead of Sauber somewhat, which is kind of surprising to say, because Sauber looked really strong last race. So definitely the performance chart is already maybe not telling quite the full picture, but there you go. That's how things look going into Hockenheim then. Let's head into qualifying and see how we do over one lap. Like I said at the very end of the last episode, hoping for a better time than we had at Silverstone. Obviously the confidence was shook a little bit compared to Fernando Alonso's performance there around Silverstone, but I really love Hockenheim as a circuit, really flowing track, so looking forward to this one. Let's head into Saturday then, see how we do over one lap.
Welcome to Germany for today's qualifying session at the famous Hockenheim ring. The pit lane lights will turn green in the next minute or two to signify the start of qualifying. In recent seasons, much talk has been made about tyre wear. Some say it gets in the way of the racing, others say it's always been part of the sport. Are we going to see drivers trying to look after their tyres here, or throw caution to the wind and worry about that when it becomes a problem?
Tyre wear is always something you have to consider to a certain degree. Finding a good car balance that suits the circuit will help prolong the life of the tyre. But it's true that some circuits, such as this one, are more challenging than others. How hard you can push them depends on your strategy and how tight the battle is around you.
So it's all clear skies then in Saturday, pretty sunny. It looks like it might be a bit gloomy though for the race on Sunday, so we'll welcome that once back again, the gloomy weather. But right now we're going to enjoy the sunshine here at Hockenheim as we go through into the stadium section in the last sector of our flying lap in Q1, and we'll see how we do here and hopefully get through into the Q2 session there on the right hand, and keeping it in fifth gear actually rather than going down to fourth, trying to carry as much speed as we can. The car feeling pretty damn lightweight around here, and I can kind of almost feel the engine power in a way. I can feel that oomph off the kind of traction zones, and we do get through into Q2. It's a pretty slow time compared to everyone else, but that is pretty much nothing new. At this point, you guys are used to me qualifying pretty close to the edge in Q1 and then picking up pace in Q2 and Q3, because yeah, these days obviously I'm just rattling through the practice programs, and so I don't really do that much actual practice on the circuit. So pretty much Q1 is my practice in terms of really getting heated up for driving the track with any kind of anger. So now we head into Q2 then, the same exact location of the track. This time we do go down to fourth gear momentarily, trying to get some oomph from the engine in that gear, and then we go across the line. At the moment it's P12, so not good enough, so we need to go again. Alonso on the back foot as well. Looks like actually the Red Bulls, Force India turning up quite a fair bit. Perez and Ocon right up there, so obviously Force India will upgrade into this weekend to leap ahead of Ferrari once again in the performance chart. And like I said before, I always feel like when Force India make an upgrade, they exponentially improve on track. Like they can make a minor upgrade on the chart, and on track in the session they'll look infinitely better. I don't know what it is, maybe it's my mind playing tricks on me, but it always feels like that, so I don't know. But we're in for our second flying lap then in Q2. We need to improve by not a huge amount, because we're in P12, so we're already pretty good, but we need to improve for sure, at least by a couple of tenths. And I was pretty thankful for that fact, because actually you can see there I got a screen freeze and got held up by Alonso massively in Sector 3. Really not the place where you want to be catching a car to overtake him on the flying lap, so that wasn't ideal. And also the screen freeze did not help as well at the exact moment I got to Stroll, but thankfully it was just about enough. P9 there on the road. I was very, very nervous at the time, but we do manage to just about get through by the skin of our teeth in 10th place there, so pretty happy. No dramas there. Both Sauber's out there. Vettel is out as well at his home Grand Prix, but he'll get a free choice of tyres then for the race tomorrow. But both Ferraris then outside the top 10. Kimi got knocked out in Q1, so you know we talked about the pressure being on Ferrari after Austria, the DNF and disqualification. Obviously, they improved a bit at Silverstone and had a good double points finish, pretty high double points finish, but now this just isn't good enough there for them. You know, Raikkonen out in Q1 and then Vettel out in Q2. Obviously, the Force India upgrade and Ferrari slumping a little bit here, coming to where the performance did not help them. But now it's time for Q3. You can see we fast forwarded through because we used 2 sets of ultras, so I only have 1 fresh set, so this is our one and only flying lap. So at the moment my teammate Alonso is on provisional pole position. So he got pole last time and then he dominated the Grand Prix. Like I said, I'm hoping this one can be the one where we bounce back and try and fight back a little bit and try and dust off that lack of confidence I had coming away from Silverstone. So hopefully this can be a good lap for us, or at least maybe someone else can go faster, and so we just don't have Alonso on pole position. But we'll have to really see about that at the moment because he's been on fire lately in terms of the qualifying positions. Small lock up into the hairpin, as that's always a tricky corner around this circuit to get kind of right. You want to kind of brake as late as ever every single time, but then sometimes you just invite yourself to kind of get a bit too hot under the collar into that corner. But now the next sector, pretty damn planted here. You can see they're flat out in 5th gear there in the McLaren. Felt pretty damn sweet. This car, I mean, the lap time, we'll see what the lap time's like, but in terms of the feeling of the car, felt really, really good. In the stadium section as well, tiny lock up on the front left, but that doesn't really put us off too much there. A little bit of snap of oversteer for good measure, but as we swing through now, the last 2 corners there, down to 4th gear, get the power down, up into 5th, then a mid-apex, and then to the line. DRS open momentarily, and it's going to be a P7, and that is a pretty disappointing qualifying once again. Qualifying has not been my friend. You know, most of the time I play F1, but especially this season, Alonso's out-qualified me pretty much, I think, every single time, and he's not a very, you know, he's not a well-known qualifier, Fernando Alonso. He's always been known for his racecraft, not his qualifying, but there he is on pole position by a huge margin to Verstappen and the rest of the order. So, once again, I come away left a little bit embarrassed and a little bit kind of shook in terms of I'm just shocked at the pace he has, and like I said last episode, it's almost like a switch has been turned on for Alonso's AI in terms of he's got that OP kind of performance that he had at the second half of Season 2 after the Singapore Grand Prix. But we have to look ourselves in the mirror as well. Obviously, qualifying has never been my strong suit anyway, so let's just look forward to the race and hopefully we can do some good stuff. Like I said, I still maintain I love driving at this circuit, so hopefully the race can be a good one for us. So let's just go to the intro and let's hopefully have a better time out in the race.
There's nowhere at all I'd rather be today than here at Hockenheim for the German Grand Prix. We have an incredibly competitive field this year, which means we should be in for a treat. And judging by the sea of people filling the grandstands, there's a fair-sized chunk of Germany that agrees with me. It's 2.8 miles around the Hockenheim ring then, with an average lap speed in excess of 130 miles per hour. The long curved back straight leads into a tight hairpin for the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit, but there are plenty of other options available around the 17 corners here today. Anthony Davidson joins me again for the race today. Let's talk about the engineer. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
It's been a really solid year so far. There have been some incredible standout performances, but what's really impressed me has been the consistency. With this kind of form, I'm expecting another great race today.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Fernando Alonso has a good view of turn 1 from his pole position slot, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Magnussen, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, the engineer, Grosjean, Sainz, Hülkenberg and Marcus Ericsson, Leclerc, Vettel, Brendan Hartley and Ocon. They've taken a grid penalty. Stroll, Raikkonen, Pierre Gasly and Sergei Sorokin. Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas starts from the back of the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right, so thanks to a penalty for Esteban Ocon, we're now moved up into P6 then, so one less position to worry about then. But as I said, very gloomy and overcast day at Hockenheim then, but it's going to get a bit sunnier as we get later on into the race. But no rain to talk about, so it's going to be a dry strategy, a 2-stop here, ultra soft tyres to 2 sets of soft tyres. Pretty easy on tyre wear, hopefully. The ultras are going to be the worst tyre really, but we're going to get those out of the way in the first, 5 to 6 laps really, and then we'll just kind of go on a very consistent yellow wall soft tyre, which has hasn't really caused us issues so far in the first 2 seasons of the career mode. So here we go then from P6 on the grid. Hopefully making up for yesterday's performance on Saturday. Here today in the race we go to 5 red lights then for the German Grand Prix, and we're underway, and it's a good start there compared to Daniel Ricciardo. Obviously ultra to the soft tyre that the Red Bull has managed to qualify on, and we're down the inside and we squeeze out Ricciardo. Carlos Sainz, the Spaniard, also has him, but chips down the inside, and he's going to go down my inside as well as we go into the end of sector 1 then, and Sainz down my inside. Side by side ahead is Perez and Magnussen, and up ahead looks like Alonso has already streaked ahead. I mean, look at that on the mini-map there. Absolutely ridiculous how much of a gap Alonso already has off pole position, so he's already in a commanding lead. But then still a fight goes on between Perez and Magnussen just behind the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. We're still side by side also with the Spaniard of Carlos Sainz, and he's got us there on the exit at the hairpin, so fair play. Can we try and get him back though into sector 3? So at the moment, Ricciardo's strategy of the soft tyres did not work out at the moment because he really lost out on the start there, and for the first time in a while I got a great start against an AI car off the 5 red lights. But we're still hounding Carlos Sainz. We go right around the outside of him on that right-hander, usually flat out in qualifying as you saw in Q3, and now we're on the outside as we enter the stadium section, and we're going to hopefully have the inside line. Very difficult to go side by side in this part of the track, even for AI as well there, if we're trying to give him the room. And so we are up into P5 then, Magnussen P4, Perez up into P3 then. I think he overtook Magnussen because I think Magnussen was initially ahead, and then as I said, Verstappen P2 there, you can see just going off on the bottom of your screen. But this man is the one that's leading at the moment, dominating the first opening laps of this Grand Prix, Alonso, and that's not really a great kind of sentence to say, to be honest. So hopefully we can try and see him a little bit later and try and catch up to him. But in the meantime, we've got a fight now. Perez feeling feisty once again, just like he did at the British Grand Prix last time out. Around the outside now, Verstappen, and so using those upgrades to good effect now in a straight line on the outside. Will Verstappen be able to do anything to defend this position? He's going to try his best, but Perez has the inside line, so he should be able to squeeze him out on the exit. But Verstappen gets the nose in still, and still keeps hounding him, and actually has it down the inside then for the next corner. And so Max really putting up a good fight, as you would imagine Verstappen would every single time, and tries to force Perez wide and off onto the grass. Doesn't work out though, and eventually has to succeed that position down to 3rd place. But he's going to continue to fight, and this is on the very next lap then. He's going to try and size up a move with DRS, and also Magnussen's not too far away, and all the while these 3 fighting is just going to invite me into this fight. They keep holding each other up, but now trying to find an angle that works there. Verstappen now on the right hand side, Magnussen on the left, tries to make a double overtake work. It's 3 wide into the hairpin. Magnussen tried it right around the outside of both of them, doesn't work out, and in the end it's still the same 2 fighting on the exit. This time around the Dutchman has a much better run, but Perez swings round, and for some reason Verstappen lost a lot of pace mid-apex there, and so again Perez finds himself in P2, Verstappen P3, Magnussen P4, and then here we are in P5, and looky, we're right here, and we're within 1 second of Magnussen now, so we can try and make an overtake hopefully on the very next lap. So once again, some fighting up ahead of us has helped us out, try and close up there, as well as Grosjean maybe as well, who's not too far off me, but we've dropped him off a little bit. At the moment, he looks like he's just overtaken Carlos Sainz as Verstappen now comes in along with Fernando Alonso, and that's a little bit annoying because I can't lie, I wanted to come in that lap as well because I wanted to try and do an undercut on Magnussen, Perez and Verstappen. Instead, Alonso stole my thunder. So once again, feeling a little bit annoyed with Alonso at that stage, kind of stealing my lap of wanting to come in. You can see there clearly struggling with some tyre wear as I go complete opposite lock to try and control the car. We're just going to have to suck it up then. Of course, Alonso has the free reign. He's the first car on track, so he has all the right in the world to come in before me. So we're just going to have to deal with it. We come in now with Magnussen. You can see really aggressive on the entry and nearly put it in the wall, but we're just testing the limits of the car. That's what I'm going to tell the engineer on the radio. So we come in now for soft tyres then, and probably annoyingly now I think Verstappen and Alonso must have extended their kind of lead they had over myself, Magnussen and Perez respectively. I think Verstappen might have a very good chance of basically jumping Perez in the pit stop phase, and Alonso extending his lead, because I already think the undercut would have worked really well, which is why I wanted to come in on that previous lap, because you saw the tyre was so bad, and we actually come out behind Carlos Sainz here. So that is all the evidence you need to show the undercut was the way to go, and so that's doubly frustrating now that we have to try and re-overtake the Spaniard, and also immediately we're pressurised by the Frenchman of Romeo Grosjean there in the Haas right behind us there. We don't get the best exit, and he's flying on the left-hand side there with the DRS, I think, as well. Yes, he does. We have DRS ourselves off Sainz, but that Haas is so good in a straight line. Of course, we did so much work for 2 seasons to make that Haas car the most lightweight car on the grid. grid, and it really shows there on the traction, the acceleration. That Haas car still has it, probably. It's probably still the best accelerating car on the grid. So now we have to wait until the next lap 7, and we've got a whole gaggle of cars, and we almost steer into the back of Grosjean there as he gets held up massively by the Williams. So almost a bit of a collision there between myself and the Frenchman. But here we go now. Grosjean trying to make a double slipstream overtake there on the Williams of Sorokin and Carlos Sainz. 3 wide momentarily. So many sparks as well off the back of these cars. But here we go down the inside now of 2 cars there of Grosjean and Sorokin, and we both squeeze out the Russian, but Grosjean is still able to keep it ahead of me. So we'll have to try something else, maybe into sector 3 as we're closing up now in 7th and 8th gear in the top end overtake mode on ERS. We go down the inside there for a very heavy brake zone, and we just managed to make it through, and a tiny bit of contact made on the tyres, but all well. That was a pretty damn nice move, I've got to say, down the inside and to keep that position. And so we're up into P15 now. Carlos Sainz now against Magnussen in the Haas. So all of us actually that were in the top 10, we still find ourselves here together, but we're all fighting for positions like P14 because there are quite a few cars in this Grand Prix, I think, trying the one-stop who started on soft tyres, a la kind of Sebastian Vettel, maybe Lewis Hamilton, all the guys that were out in Q2. And so that's why we're all fighting here for these lower positions, despite all of us being still close together from when we're all in the top 10 previously. So now we go down the inside then of Sainz, who's also got overtaken by Magnussen. So not a great little moment there for the Spaniards, but now can we try and close up on the Dane, who looks to be going quite slow actually. So once again, Magnussen, like at Silverstone, is he being hit with some car issues or tyre wear? Because we are rapidly catching up to him as we go into the next right-hander, usually near flat out in qualifying, but you can see how much time we gained there. We're going to go down the inside, and it's a very easy move to my surprise on Magnussen. So I think he might have a car issue, because that was a surprisingly and very confusingly easy move on the Dane and my former teammate. So we're up into P13 then, and we catch up now to the real train of traffic here of Lance Stroll. In the middle of that is Max Verstappen as well. So Verstappen's also not escaped this traffic then. I think the only one that's got out of that unscathed is maybe Alonso up ahead of the train. But you can see how much I had to lift off for Lance Stroll there on the right-hander. We go down the inside, and he squeezes us completely off circuit there. And so the Canadian, for the second time this weekend, holds me up in a very bad position in Sector 3. The first time was qualifying, and now it's mid-race, and that really did my gears in there. That really grinded my gears. That's the phrase. It really grinded my gears, because Stroll really did not need to do that. He's in the slower car. I know he's for position, but that was a very bad squeeze off there down the inside. So we're going to get it to him on the inside of turn 1 into turn 2. We're going to get that squeeze him out on the wide left-hander there, and we're going to be up the position. And now we'll try and chase after Verstappen, who's finding some issues trying to get past the cars ahead. Obviously, we know how bad the Red Bull car can be in a straight line, so clearly having some issues getting past the maybe fast in a straight line Mercedes car. Bottas, who now is stricken a little bit, and Bottas, not often you would say a Mercedes car is part of the traffic we need to pass very easily, but he definitely is. And now we've got Ericsson there on the right-hand side, retiring out of the Grand Prix then, so that's a shame for them. But now we're going to close up on Bottas, now DRS on to lap 11, and so now can we try and get him in the same place we got Lance Stroll. Maybe really good turn 1, open DRS for a second, mark the cherry, then he's got DRS as well. But here we go now, big pounce down the inside, and we do get that, slow the thing down in 3rd gear, and that's a really nice overtake, and we're up into P10 and up ahead now. Verstappen trying to get a move on 2 cars here, so if he gets held up enough, could we try and overtake maybe him whilst he tries to overtake some slower cars, maybe catch him napping a little bit, as now it's Hamilton as well. So the Mercedes really are part of this traffic here. And up ahead as well, we've got some Ferraris, and Perez also held up somewhat. And I think the only people really benefiting from this are kind of the faster cars that were on the one-stop strategy, i.e. Daniel Ricciardo. Remember, Ricciardo started on the soft tyre in this race, so he might have been really slow off the 5 red lights, but he's going to be in a prime position to try and get away from everyone here, myself, Verstappen, Perez, and the cars behind us, if he, he just continues on doing the good work in clean air. But here we go now, a big dive down the inside of Verstappen to try and make this move. Verstappen has been way too slow trying to get through the traffic, and so we caught him napping there, and we had to make that move. He's dawdling too much for my liking, and so we just did the job and pretty much did a Verstappen dive bomb on Verstappen. And so now we close up on Hamilton. We're going to streak past him on the left-hand side there with DRS open, rich mix going, and also overtake mode on the ERS. Make sure he doesn't re-overtake us in the hairpin. We catch up to now Raikkonen and a train with the Toro Rosso car, and I think that's the other Williams car, I think of Sorokin potentially, but now a bit of an overtaking montage here, trying to get through all these cars. We've got Raikkonen and then Hartley there, so we'll have DRS once again on the main straight, open up the rear flap, reduce the drag, overtake mode on the ERS. Rich Mix still going there as well, but finding issue trying to climb too much in top speed because the Raikkonen also has DRS off the Toro Rosso, but the Toro Rosso holds up Raikkonen in the brake zone here, so we can try and squeeze Kimi out maybe on the exit, get the traction down faster than he can, and so we do get that move despite Kimi having the straight line in the brake zone. The Toro Rosso helps us out quite a fair bit, but then speaking of said Toro Rosso, Brendan Hartley going to catch up into turn 1. A little bit of shimmy on the left-hand side there on the steering wheel, trying to catch the car a little bit after losing some grip. But we go down the inside and we're going to squeeze him out. And then on the exit, we'll try and catch up to his teammate Pierre Gasly then. So both Toro Rossos in tandem, trying to do a good job this race, but trying to spoil the party and trying to get through them as fast as we can. But at this point of the race, I can't lie, guys, I was so annoyed at how much traffic I got hit that I just tried the biggest dive bomb on Pierre Gasly here that I had no warrant to even make stick there. And so, of course, Pierre does the switch back on me and re-overtakes me there. I just really, I got so pissed off basically at how much time I had lost. Because look at the minimap there. That's where Alonso and Perez are. And then up ahead of them is Ricciardo and also, I think, Sebastian Vettel as well. So we've lost so much time in the traffic, and it all boils down to me not coming in 1 lap earlier. That was because Alonso came in before me. So I basically just got fed up and tried that big-ass dive bomb. Didn't work out, and in the end, I have to wait to make a nicer move down the around the outside of Pierre Gasly. Then that was a much better overtake on the Frenchman. But yeah, that's probably literally the biggest dive bomb I've ever tried on the F1 game, I think, and it really just did not work in any kind of way, any kind of sense. But the reason why I was getting so annoyed was because of these guys, like I said, Sergio Perez and Alonso there getting away from me, and then ahead of Alonso is Daniel Ricciardo there. Now he has already made his one stop of the race. He's on mediums already, so he's going to the end of this Grand Prix, and then ahead of him by an entire straight is Sebastian Vettel on the same set of soft tyres he started the race with. So Vettel and Ricciardo have done some bonkers strategy and have just avoided all the traffic in the world, and so by the time Vettel probably pits, I think it'll be Ricciardo in the lead. Vettel has to already, Vettel still has his pit stop to make, but he's still going to be ahead of myself and Alonso, so that's going to work out big time for them, because you can see now on lap 19, there is Vettel. He was right behind me, he's now gone ahead, and so Vettel is ahead of me in this race legitimately because of his strategy work on a one stop from the soft tar to the medium, I think. And then Ricciardo is even further ahead of Vettel because I don't know how on earth Ricciardo's done it, but he'd already made his pit stop and was ahead of Alonso. So out of nowhere, it might not be the Alonso show anymore. It might be Ricciardo and Vettel, the two former Red Bull teammates. They might be 1 and 2, Ricciardo being the one way out in first place, and then Vettel in second, some way ahead of Alonso, and I'm trying to chase after Alonso and Perez here. So now we're moving on to lap 21 now, and into turn 1, up into P4, Raikkonen in the car right behind me there, but we have jumped Fernando Alonso. Alonso lost that much time in the tyre wear he had on the soft tyres that he's not only behind Raikkonen and myself, he's also behind Max Verstappen. So Alonso has lost a heap of time. So from going from what seemed like a very comfortable race victory for Alonso, he was in control, he lost so much time in traffic in the second stint, and now at the very end of the second stint, going to the third stint, he's lost so much time on tyre wear that he's had to try and re-overtake the Red Bull car then, and we'll have to re-overtake the Ferrari before he can even get back to me. But just to confirm then, Daniel Ricciardo is the one then leads the Grand Prix on medium tyres going to the end of the Grand Prix. Vettel is in second now, and even after he made his second pit stop, he was right behind me, so that he's done some great work on those softs in the initial first stint he did. Then third place is Sergio Perez in the Force India car. Then it's myself in P4, just ahead of Raikkonen and Alonso. So just like that, Vettel and Ricciardo have become the two 1-2 race leaders in this race, and Alonso, myself and Perez have been completely finessed in this entire Grand Prix, although Alonso does some great work there to overtake Raikkonen as Verstappen now dives down the inside of Kimi. So Alonso not messing about and already gets past Raikkonen within 1 lap of coming out the pit lane then, and so Alonso now can have some clean air to try and chase after myself. Meanwhile, behind, Raikkonen goes from trying to attack me to now losing not only a place to Alonso, a place to Verstappen, but now also Kevin Magnussen, I think that is, in the Haas car. So, you know, we've talked plenty about me beating Raikkonen, having the rivalry Raikkonen. Raikkonen is pretty much not putting up much of a fight here, and he's not doing himself any justice for keeping that Ferrari seat for Season 4, I would say, at the moment. But now we move on to lap 25, and Alonso has set a purple lap time here. And at the moment, you can see I'm in a bit of trouble because I don't have much ERS. You can see I'm on medium. I was low ERS in Sector 3 because I don't have that much battery stored up here, so I don't have too much to defend with against Alonso. We're up into overtake mode now on ERS, but that was only because I saved enough in Sector 3 by going low on the ERS. But here he comes now with DRS. Alonso absolutely flying now. Purple lap time on that last lap, and he goes round the outside then to try and overtake me. Little bit of contact made on the exit of the hairpin, but he's got it round the outside, gets the traction, but we part the power down, and at this point I just say screw it. I want to stay ahead of Alonso, use all the battery power with hot lap mode engaged. We dive it down the inside. It's a lock up on the left front, and there's contact with Alonso there, and so it's getting way too close for comfort. Alonso loses time there on the right-hander. We do the switch back and go to the inside for the next right-hander into the stadium section. We chuck it in there. Alonso just about manages to hang on to the steering wheel of his car and give me enough room, and we do get back ahead of the Spaniard, but we drift through the next corner and we just about maintain that position here. But I am now running on thin ice. I've got low fuel, low ERS save, and this is just not going to end well at this point. Alonso is going to have me at some point. I'm just trying to hang on for dear life here. You can see on the heads-up display as Alonso sends one down the inside, but he goes too deep, so we get him back. It's back and forth between me and Alonso. It's fantastic, but you can see on the right-hand side on the heads-up display, I'm low fuel in the red, and also battery store-wise, I don't have too much to spare. I have just about enough to go overtake mode again on the main straight here, but Alonso is going to come flying once again with DRS, and all the while, I'm burning more fuel than I can afford to use, and down the inside, we're going to defend. He's going to go around the outside once again. We lock up on the front right. This time, though, we're a little bit more equally matched on the exit, but then, somehow, even though he's on the curbing, he gets a better acceleration point than me, and so again, I use hot lap mode, this time on the outside of the corner, so no chance of hitting his side pod, and actually we do a beautiful little move around the outside to the inside then for the next right-hander, and that was a really sweet overtake there for me on the outside. Very unorthodox place to make a move on the outside of that corner, just in front of the Mercedes grandstand there, and so we're back ahead of Alonso, but this is inviting now Romain Grosjean in the Haas also behind us to close up here, but all the while, I'm pretty much now putting it into low or none ERS in Sector 3, and now also at this point, I finally realised I was so low on fuel, so I put the fuel down to lean mixture to try and save the fuel because I need some for the end of the race, and so that's going to mean Alonso and Grosjean are going to be flying at me, and they're going to be going through like an absolute stabbed rat. Alonso on the left-hand side shoots parts with DRS there, Grosjean's down my inside, and I've been completely done there. Lean mixture and none is not the one, Chiefs. It's not the combo you want, and so I've been completely done. Double overtake there on me. I'm going to have to try and come back at Grosjean maybe, but at this point now, I'm going to try and sit back and watch Grosjean maybe attack Alonso, use that to save some fuel, use that to save some battery power. You can see now I'm back in the green for the fuel. We're up into hot lap mode on the ERS, and now can we try and re-overtake Alonso maybe, as Alonso is overtaken by the Frenchman here. So whilst we've been fighting, we kind of both lost out there because the Haas is ahead of us, but hopefully we can try and stick with him and re-overtake him both. The ideal scenario is both me and Alonso get past Grosjean, and then I can overtake Alonso, and I can keep that position, because at this point, obviously, after last episode, I really want to beat Alonso. It's now been 2 races. He's got 2 wins on the trot. I need to punch back a little bit. You know, I've got a lot of respect for Alonso, but I need to punch back a little bit and show that, you know, I'm still the main man here. I'm the one leading the championship here in the McLaren. So here we go now. On the outside, we both overtaking Grosjean here. I try my luck around the outside. Does not work out, though. That was not the place to go. I should have maybe tried the inside there, but, you know, I couldn't find the room, so I just tried it on the outside. But we got past Grosjean at least, and so now we can try and re-overtake Alonso. On the very next lap, then, we've got a little bit of ERS to play with, about half the bar there, so we can go up to hot lap and overtake mode. At the moment, we're in standard mixture because I just do not want to kind of tempt fate with running out of fuel by the end of this Grand Prix. So for now, we'll maintain standard mixture only. But nonetheless, here we go then on the slingshot then on the main straight, once again trying to catch and overtake Alonso. This has been now the 6th consecutive lap that we've been fighting here. It's been an absolute ding-dong battle, probably one of the best battles I've had on the F1 2018 career mode so far. And so far, Alonso's still surviving. And Grosjean now, he's made it 3 wide. wide. How on earth has he done that? Grosjean comes out of nowhere to make it 3 wide momentarily there into the right-hander. I have no clue where he came from, but look at this. Alonso went deep into the corner. He makes a mistake. We're round the outside, and there's a virtual safety car because Ricciardo is out of the German Grand Prix with an engine failure. And so the Honey Badger is out of the race from the race lead. He retires, and Sebastian Vettel will be the one now in the lead of the German Grand Prix. I think Vettel already took the lead at that point there, because I didn't see a red car in any kind of distance. So I think Vettel now leads his own Grand Prix. Sergio Perez in second place. We're up to third now. Alonso's P4 and Grosjean is P5. So this fight now with Alonso and Grosjean means that much more, but this has been such a stellar fight. I mean, that last sequence there of Grosjean making a surprise 3 wide moment, that was insane. I did not see where he came from. Oh, he was like a literal French ninja at that point. But here we go now on the exit, up into now the ERS modes we need, overtake mode. We've got some fuel now to burn thanks to the virtual safety car, so we're bumping up into rich mix, but Alonso's going to come flying now with DRS. A great exit for him. Can we try and catch the slipstream from Alonso to try and stay ahead of Grosjean? We go to left-hand side on the racing line. Grosjean's tapped us and we're round, and it's all over in a flash. Red front wing, and that is our race completely down the toilet there. We spin around, get it back on track, just ahead of the Mercedes car of Hamilton and behind the Ferrari of Raikkonen, and that is our race completely down the crapper. Just like that, in a split second, Grosjean has ruined our entire race there. I tried to catch the slipstream, tried to get a bit of extra straight line speed, and in doing so, I must have squeezed out Grosjean way too much, but I thought I had it. I thought I had my car ahead of him, or at least on my mirrors. I didn't see him anywhere, and the proximity arrow was, just behind me, basically, but enough contact was made to spin us out, and so we've got a broken front wing there, red front wing. Now let's look on a POV from Grosjean here, and so admittedly I am very to the right, but then we cut across, and I am ahead of him there for a split second, and then Grosjean keeps on pushing, and he taps my rear tyre. I guess the kind of inertia of the rear tyre versus his nose cone just spun my car very violently to the left and then right, and I couldn't catch it because you're going so fast at multiple miles per hour, so at that speed you just can't catch a spin like that. So frustrating. And now Hamilton is down my inside. We're in P8, now it's P9, and I'm still going on here. I've not pit for my damage on the front wing because we've only got, a couple laps left in this Grand Prix. If I pit now, I'll be down to P15. I may as well try and go round with the red front wing and try and at least salvage 2 points for P9, or at least 1 point for P10 as I go very wide on the last corner there, and it's pretty inevitable that eventually Kevin Magnussen in P10 will catch me, so it will be for P10, but 1 point is better than no points here, and I would have been down to P15 or P16 if I had pit, so I maintain that I made the correct decision trying to just go on for P10 there, but in a flash, our race goes from what was the most exciting battle I've ever had with full stop in F1 2018 career mode with Fernando Alonso there and Grosjean to an absolute calamity there with the spin, which was probably more my fault than Grosjean's. I will fully admit. I'm not trying to, say that was all Grosjean's fault. That definitely probably was more my fault than Grosjean's, but I still maintain I was ahead of him for a split second, and he kept pushing on the left-hand side to try and go for the gap that was ever closing by me. But I just have no words, really. I can't really explain what happened there, but that was... what a bonkers race. What a bonkers race.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
That's a fantastic performance from Ferrari. It hardly looked in doubt. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
Well, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
And in the end, let's not forget what a brilliant win Sebastian Vettel's got. An inspired one-stop strategy. He went so long on soft tyres at the very start of that race, and he really deserves that second win of the season. Remember, Vettel won the very first race, and so it's been a long time since Ferrari has been on the top step of the podium, about 11 rounds to be exact. So they've had a long time coming. They've had a long wait to taste champagne, but we still maintain a lead of the Drivers' Championship ahead of Perez. But obviously, Perez and Alonso close up on us. Ricciardo loses out with that DNF again. Ricciardo getting very unlucky, and Vettel gains a heap of points in the championship. Constructors-wise, though, we're still well ahead of Red Bull. Force India actually jump past then to third place in constructors, and Ferrari solidify their place ahead of Renault. But GG's to Vettel. I mean, it's really unfortunate for Ricciardo, because if it wasn't for that DNF, it would have been an inspired win for Ricciardo and would have been still a great second place for Vettel. But at a time where I talked about Vettel with the Ferrari with a DNF and disqualification at Austria, a good redeeming race at Silverstone. But then in this race, Kimi was so bad in qualifying, and even worse in the race, Vettel was pretty poor in qualifying as well. The pressure was piling on, and all the while I was doing pretty damn good. The pressure was piling on for maybe the rumours of a mid-season switch to Ferrari. Do they pull the plug on my loan deal and make me come to Ferrari early? Well, Vettel might have just battered away that notion there with the win at the German Grand Prix, at his home Grand Prix nonetheless. So very, very good timing there for Ferrari and for Sebastian Vettel's sake there for that win, and pretty bad timing for me to have it in the wall there with Grosjean. But we're going to go to Claire then for what I can only imagine is going to be a bit of a roasting in the questions.
Well, things didn't really go your way today. Tell us what happened. Did you have the wrong fuel strategy today, or was it your management?
Obviously, we got caught up with traffic, and so that didn't help us, and we wouldn't been in a position where we would have had that crash if it wasn't for the traffic. But I'm just going to go with a no comment, to be honest. Not going to answer that.
Your battle got a bit heated, didn't
Obviously, that was an insane battle with Alonso, and so I'm going to say at this level, inevitably, you're going to make a little bit of contact here when it gets so frosty. You're fighting for every little bit of meter and space.
Thanks anyway.
But in the end, Claire wasn't too happy with all those answers, because I brushed off the first one there. But Fernando Alonso still leads the rivalry. But the all-important thing is I still lead my rivalry with Raikkonen. So I'm still doing the job against the number 2 Ferrari man, which is what I care about in this situation.
What on earth was that performance? Come on, this isn't bumper cars at the fairground. Your results and conduct here matter, so pay more attention. We can't afford too many races like that.
But we get a telling off then from the PR agent. Obviously, it wasn't the shining moment of the season, but we'll come back strong next time around at the Hungarian Grand Prix. Remember, we have the ultimate upgrade to come, but even the crash aside, I still thoroughly enjoyed that race, because that was, like I said, I maintain, that was probably the best battle I've had on this game so far, and obviously it had to be with Fernando Alonso eventually. Absolutely insane. So guys, if you did enjoy watching that as much as I did to commentate it, then smash that like button. Let me know your thought in the comments below. If you're around here, do subscribe for weekly 4-on content. I've been aarava. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.